Hi, everyone. I am so excited that you all have chosen to participate in mastering your job interview. You're going to be able to hopefully interview like a pro. My name is Maya Francis, and I serve as the Clown Community Coordinator for a nonprofit here in Jacksonville called Generation that I look forward to sharing more with you about. But in the meantime, let's go straight into things. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that the information presented today is applicable to where you are in your journey and that you're able to utilize it in a very positive way, right? I want you to leave being able to say, you know what, I got a lot from that. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you all so that you can see the PowerPoint as I go through it. So, again, my name is Maya Francis, and this is Mastering the Job Interview presented by Generation. And below is my information. So, if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me afterwards at maya at generation.org. And I'll make sure that I share it again at the end. Okay, so to begin, I wanted to share our programs here at Generation Jacksonville. So, Generation, we are global, we are all over the place, literally. And we're in Africa, we're in Australia, we are in China, we are again everywhere. But more importantly, we're here in Jacksonville. So, Generation is a nonprofit organization helping individuals who are looking for training in specific areas. Here in Jacksonville, our programs are our customer service supervisor, our IT help desk technician, and the administrative medical assistant. They run anywhere between 6 to 12 weeks. It's boot camp style, so it is in your face, it's straight to the point, it's direct, but in a very loving way. All of our programs offer a coach or a mentor to support our students along the way. They also have a program coordinator as well as a instructor. So they are covered in full to help them throughout the journey, understanding that everyone's circumstance is a little different and it always takes a village. So, again, that's that customer service supervisor, IT help desk technician, and administrative medical assistant. Once the students are complete with their programming, we offer the opportunity for them to sit for certifications that are industry specific. So that's another benefit as well. You can walk out free of charge with a certification with a growing industry. My hope for you all today, the overview, is that you learn how to successfully create an updated resume that highlights your strengths and your skills, as well as receive interviewing tips that will help you land that dream job, whatever that may be. Kicking right into things, I wanted to share some resume tips with you. So, going into my resume, the first thing I'm thinking about is what format do I want to use? How do I want to showcase my experiences? So, choosing your format, these are three examples of the most highly used formats: chronological, function, and combined. So, to begin, chronological, that's when you're using that reverse chronological order, starting with your most present job, moving into your past experiences. So, a reverse chronological resume format is good for people with all levels of work experience, people looking for a job in a field similar to their work experience, people without large gaps in their work history, and then also people applying for a job in a more traditional industry, so accounting, finance, and engineering, etc. The next is a functional. A functional resume format is good for people with high levels of work experience, people making a career change to a field unrelated to their work experience. So instead of having descriptives, the functional is more so focused on your skills and your abilities instead of the typical descriptives that are seen. People with unusually large gaps. So some of us may have taken a break to either, have life, experience life, whether that be raising our children, maybe just taking a break, exploring and entrepreneurship, whatever that gap may be. This allows for you to again focus on those skills versus the descriptives and help hopefully at that interview stage not have to tackle that dreaded question of, hey, why did you experience all these gaps? The next one is a combined. A combined is my favorite. It's the one that I use on my resume, and it's a combination of both the chronological and the functional. For people use This is typically used for people making a career change with skills or work experience, people with some employment gaps, people with a diverse range of skills and experience, people applying to either creative or traditional roles. Many of our roles are traditional. But again, to me, the combined is a universal format that can be used. I provided you at the bottom the source. So if you want to gain some more information about resume formats, feel free to go to Career Blog, and their link is provided for you all as well. Resume tips continued. So I'm an example person. I like to see. I'm very visual. This is an example of that combined resume that I spoke of before. Jane Doe, the digital marketing manager. And as you can see, resumes are having the opportunity to be a little more creative than that traditional black and white. Jane has her picture, she has her social media, her skills, her languages highlighted in a way that shows, if she's a beginner, as how efficient essentially she is within those skills. But I love the way that this is so visually appealing. So to start off, our second tip is professional summary versus a job description. So in the past, a job description would typically be used, which shares, your objective, why, what job you're searching for, why. But a professional summary is a beautiful way to articulate your job experience outside of what's shown in your resume. So, for example, on Jane's, it shares that she is a marketing professional with a proven experience in planning and coordinating marketing policies and programs, such as, and then she goes into her example. So, this summary is just a brief way to, again, give more information to your interviewer or to the person that's you're sharing your resume with, that's outside of the descriptors that are typically used. Second, identify industry keywords and use them, especially if you're utilizing automated services or online resources like Indeed, LinkedIn, that are scanning your resumes. They're searching for those industry specific keywords. And from there, that's how they're seeing if they're going to move you into the interview stage or whatever that next stage may be. So being able to identify the industry keywords and use them in your resume puts you right up there with the top of the notch. Number four, use compelling action words within your descriptions. I like to start with those compelling words. From our example, you can see created, updated, redesigned, located. Think about if you've managed, if you've led, those type of words to be able to share and from the very beginning what action you perform within that role. And don't date your education. If it's a space and opportunity where you may have graduated in uh, in a year that you may not feel as relevant, you don't have to put there. You do not have to continue to put the year as your experience grows. Now, if you're someone who just graduated from college, or maybe you're a high school student and you don't have as much work experience, definitely keep that date there. We want to see that your knowledge is relevant, and whatever skill based learning or training again is relevant. So if that's what you have, feel free to share. But if you feel that it may be a little dated to put your education date, you can take that off as well. Lastly, there is no need to include all jobs. It's okay to split your job experiences on your resume. One thing that I would like to recommend that I utilize is having a big resume. I have a big resume that's more so like my foundation. It has all of my work experience, my volunteer, my organizations I've been involved with, the works. But from there, my big resume, I I copy and I paste to be more specific to the job that I'm applying for. So for some jobs, they don't need to know that I was a counselor in college. Some jobs, they don't need to know that I did project management, right? It may not be applicable to that job. I'm applying, for example, to be a manager at a daycare. What is more beneficial for that? Think about those things and be able to utilize that big resume, that foundation, to make a smaller resume that's more specific to what you're applying for. Typically, people would say that you should keep your resume anywhere between 1 to 2 pages. And again, the source is listed below. Here are just some resources for you if you're going as you're going into creating your resume. My personal favorite is onnetonline.org. So ONNET is so cool because you literally can go in and write out the title, your role. Say for example, I worked at McDonald's as a cashier. I can type in cashier into the search bar and it's going to give me descriptions of my role and my responsibilities as a cashier. So if you're ever struggling with thinking, what did I do when I worked as a foreman? What did I do when insert whatever that title may be? You can do that on ONNET and they provide you with the descriptives to get you going again as you're creating your resume. Career Source, whether that's online or in our Jacksonville location, Career Source provides pamphlets, templates, anything you need, booklets even, on how to go into the resume search, the template creations, the whole 9 yard. They have that information for you, in addition to LinkedIn and Purdue Owl Resume Workshop as well. Next, which is the meat of why we're here, mastering the job interview. I always say that my resume, of course, gets me in the door, but my interview, that's what seals the deal. I love when it's an opportunity for me to get into that interview. This is your time to shine, to be confident in your skills, your abilities, your talents, and to be you. So, I want to discuss with you all today your attitude, your attire, and attention to detail. First off is your attitude. I love this quote. It says 99% of the battle is getting yourself into the right state of mind. And for me, that is my attitude. I have the definition because I am also a definition girl. An attitude is a position of the body or a manner of carrying yourself, a state of mind or a feeling, a disposition, a position of the body, including your mood and or emotion. So your attitude is how you carry yourself. It's the energy that you exude, your mood, your emotions. And going into an interview, you want to have a positive attitude. So for you, I have some tips to maintaining a positive attitude. First, before the interview, if possible, try to set aside some time for just you. Practice in that space positive self talk. If you wanted to meditate, take deep breaths, really just have time to sit and to breathe. Highly recommending doing that before the interview. Even if you wanted to review some of your questions in your head, those common questions, but having that alone time to get your mind right is so important before the interview. Next, during your interview, engage firmly. Make eye contact with the interviewer, listen attentively, and smile. Even when you're doing virtual interviews, because that's the new way, that's what we're on right now. If you're on the when you're on those platforms, still it shows signs that you're engaging with the individual that's interviewing you. If you're in a panel discussion, rather live or in person, engage with each one of those individuals. Allow for them to be able to see that you are giving each of them the same amount of attention. Show the real you. Be confident in who you are. So show that. Interview is the time to show your personality, your character, because again, being you is very important. You don't want to put yourself in a position where, you're trying to be someone that you're not, and then this isn't the environment that you want to be in. You want to be in an environment where you can come in as your complete self. So be the real you. Be confident, lighten the mood where you can. Never criticize, never complain. Agree with the interviewer and actually be positive. Actually come in knowing that you're where you're supposed to be. That will help you maintain that positive attitude. So, after your attitude comes your attire, or in other words, your appearance, how you carry yourself, how you come into that room. So, note appropriate interview attire will vary according to the job you are applying for. So, I have some examples for you all on the right hand side of the screen. It's separated by industry, and it's not a, a guarantee. You don't have to do this, but these are just some examples of when you're going into different industry specific interviews, what's deemed acceptable. So business position, typically that traditional look, creative position, more so of a casual, semi-casual, and then the startup position, real business casual. You can put your sneakers on with it. You can be fun, you can be funky. I always say that show your personality within each of them, but this is just a fun way to show just examples of if it's industry specific attire, but the same can go for anything that you're applying for. Again, here are some of my favorite in person and virtual looks. Also, things to consider when you're thinking about your attire and your appearance is grooming. So, this is not just your hair, but it's your facial hair as well. It's all of those things. So, I'm not a stickler for what's deemed traditional. I know that people, show their personality, they show their culture, their heritage, their who they are through their appearance. So when thinking about grooming, you do what's best for you. Hygiene is very important, especially if you're still in person. Excessive jewelry, and then also just thinking about that makeup usage. But do you? So, attention to detail. This slide just shares information about attention to detail when you are going virtual, which is the space many of us are in right now. Our jobs have gone virtual, school has gone virtual, the way we do life, even having dinner parties, has gone virtual. So there it's very important to start getting into the swing of working with various platforms like Zoom, Skype, even Google, which majority of businesses are leaning towards to still conduct those interviews in this space that we're in now. So consider the following: using your professional profile name. Working working at Generation has really been interesting. My apologies, because I have students who come in with their names as like, "Hey Billy 32, what's going on? What's shaking?" Just you name it. So maintaining that professional profile name is very important. Also, your personal background. So, on most of the platforms, you're able to customize your background. So, if there's a space where perhaps you have a lot going on and you cannot have a clear background, utilizing those virtual backgrounds that are giving on the platforms can be very helpful. Also, lighting and background noise. I am so sorry because here I am sharing this and my phone rung. So try to eliminate distractions as much as possible. My dad was calling. Parents. So those background noising, your lighting, all of those things are very important when you're doing your interviews in a virtual space. So again, with the lighting, there's ring lights. You can use those, or natural light is always good as well. Here are some recommendations prior to going in and downloading and get familiar with the app or software ahead of time. So whether that be Zoom again, Google, what have you, if you download it beforehand, that show you are now able to see, how to use the software again. So it's just makes it a lot more easier going into the interview because you already know where everything is. Log in early to check your sound, your mic, and your camera. Also, the internet connection and your link access as well. I can't Met I so many times that I've been given a link that doesn't work and had to send over an email. But by checking your links first, it again helps you with that smoother transition going into that virtual interviewing space. Uh-oh, battery going low. We're going to keep it moving. We're almost done. Attention to detail when answering questions. So, situation questions are those that typically trick people up, right? So, when you're doing situation questions, I recommend using the STAR method. The STAR stands for situation, task, action, and results. The situation, think of an appropriate situation to use. Assess the task which cropped up within this situation. What action was required to fix the problem? Your action. And then what was the result of the three previous steps? Next is awareness of your attributes. Knowing the skills, the talents, the knowledge that you bring to the table are very important. So, having an awareness of your attributes allows for you to utilize them smoothly as you're answering questions. So, start thinking about your communication skills, your team skills, customer service, adaptability, etc. And then one of my favorites is to share your research. As you're answering questions, show the interviewer that you have done your due diligence to look up information regarding their organization. So, their culture, their history, maybe even some recent projects, partnerships, etc., that they've been working on. Being able to connect those to your interview questions really will make it top notch. And lastly, practice. It may not make perfect, but you will make less mistakes. So Grab a friend and have a mock interview. Record yourself, invite opportunities for critique. Hire a professional if you need to. There are individuals who have made it their business to assist you as you look into your new job. Career coaches, life coaches, resume writers, utilize them to be able to help you move to that next level. So, again, practice, it doesn't make perfect, but it does allow for you to make less mistakes. Here I have provided you all with some examples of mock interview questions that we utilize in our generation program to help our students prepare. These are common questions like, tell me about yourself. On the right side of the column, it shares, this is not a story of your life. Some of us like to ramble. You should discuss your schooling, if you have graduated, and work relevant work history that ties into the position that you are applying to. So, looking into those practice mock interview questionnaires will definitely be an asset as you go into mastering your interview. So, grab a friend and get ready. And lastly, always say thank you. Rather that be you sending a personal card, which is a nice touch, an email, a letter. Always say thank you to the individual who is interviewing you so that you can continue to move forward and build a great relationship. With that, thank you all for joining me in mastering the job interview. Again, my name is Maya Francis. I have the amazing privilege of serving as the Climb Community Coordinator, and it has been great to just share this time with you all today. I hope this information was applicable again to you. It was helpful, and that you are now able to master the job interview with the necessary tools to equip you for getting that resume in order and being confident and comfortable and being, of course, yourself in that interview.